Hi Hawks, it is time for today's story and I am going to be reading it to you from our home office. So welcome. Today's story is called The Good Little Book and I hope you enjoy it. The Good Little Book, words by Keo McClear, pictures by Marian Arbona. I thought I'd start off by reading the quote that's in the front of this book. It says, "Outside of a dog, a book is a man's best friend. Inside of a dog, it's too dark to read." Groucho Marx. Once there was a good little book. It had fine printed pages and a simple cover and a strong spine. It sat on a shelf in a study lined with other books. There were thick books and thin books, books for racing through quickly and books for savoring slowly. Some books were popular, others were less popular. The good little book was neither thick nor thin, popular nor unpopular. It had no shiny medals to boast of. It didn't even own a proper jacket. One day a boy drifted into the study. This boy had just landed himself in trouble and had been sent off to think things over, which is what he did for exactly 12 seconds. Then he began to explore. Seeing that the room was full of ancient stuff that didn't do anything, the boy pulled out the good little book, and with a great sigh, he began to read. The silence of reading slowly filled the room. It spread through the walls and ceilings and spilled into the street. The wind whistled through a crack in the window. The clock ticked in the corner, but the boy didn't notice. The book the boy thought couldn't do anything did many things. It carried him to the deep sea and steered him towards a faraway land. It dazzled him and stumped him and made him laugh and gasp. He read it through. Then he turned back to the beginning and read it again. Winter came and snow fell on the city. No matter what his days held in store, the boy never tired of reading the good little book. It didn't turn him into a bookish boy or improve his naughty behavior, but it did become a loyal companion, there to see him to sleep and distract him when he had to think things over. Spring came and rain fell on the city. The good little book continued to accompany the boy everywhere until one day something terrible happened. The boy lost his favorite book. He retraced his steps, searching and searching, hunting for hours. But the good little book was gone. In his distress, he pictured the worst: fires and floods, bandits and bears. The boy worried. How would such a good and quiet book survive? What would it do if it found itself at the edge of the unknown or among frightful enemies? You see, the good little book did not have skills that would help it in the dangerous wild or in the rushing streets. It wasn't even wearing a proper jacket. If only it were a sensible book of languages or a useful book of information. If only it were loud enough to make itself noticeable. The boy sought help, but discovered that very few people have time for a lost book, no matter how good or little it might be. He put up posters. He went to places books like to go, until finally he ended up at the library. But his book was not there either. Summer came and petals and pollen fell on the city. As the boy waited for the book to turn up, he began to read other books to pass the time. He space traveled, time traveled, and elephant traveled all over the world and beyond. At first it made little difference. No matter how many nearly good books he read, the boy still felt that the good little book had been written especially for him. But slowly his heart began to open to other stories. Little did he know that his lost book had been noticed. The animals had noticed. A squirrel thought it might be a thriller. A sparrow thought it might be a romance. A raccoon thought it might be a sandwich. A cat sat on it to keep it warm. And a little girl had noticed too. Autumn came and leaves fell on the city. The boy was out one morning when something caught his eye. He stopped and opened his mouth to say something. Then he closed his mouth and let the little girl and the book go. But it didn't really go. You see, a good little book never completely goes away. In the seasons that followed, the book the boy thought too quiet and helpless to survive in the world did just fine. In fact, you could even say it blossomed. All right, everybody, that's it for today's story. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I love my good little book. Boys and girls, I hope you're doing a lot of reading, and I hope that you are taking care of each other, playing games. It was no homework week this week, so remember we had assigned you to just play some board games with your family. Get outside and enjoy the sunshine today. It's a beautiful day. And take care, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow. Bye. Have a good day.